What's up, everybody? Well, I got into the Asus G15 Advantage gameplay video for you guys today, and today we are finally doing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Now, usually I do games when they come out like right the day of or whatnot, but this one I was a little behind on. Got into moving, then a bunch of other games came out. I also learned that the game was literally just running like absolute dog shit. Like, honestly, worse than even Forspoken was running when it first came out. So I was like, you know what? Let's just wait. Let it get some patches and wait. So that's what I did. But here we are now. So we're going to do it at 1080p here first, then we'll move over to 1440, and then after that, we'll hop on over to the desktops and see how they fare. I already did this on the Steam Deck and the Asus Ally, which neither one of them really played this game all that well. But the Ally did do better. The Ally was at least able to get a 30-ish FPS experience, where the Steam Deck was dropping under 30 quite a bit more. But it too was able to get 30 more often than it wasn't. But neither one of them would be what I would be considering a playable, fun experience. They both had to have FSR on, be at 720p, and kind of just look like garbage. Because as far as I remember is, when you turn FSR on, it's a fucking upscaler. So if you're playing at 720p, you're actually playing at like 360p upscale to 720p. At least that's how I had it explained to me. But anyway, enough blabbing and whatnot. Let's get this thing hooked up to that capture computer, and we'll go see how it performs. Well, alright. Before we hop on into the game, let's quickly look over the settings we're going to try. So first, we're going to start off on Epic. Oh, we don't want that on, though. Let's turn that off. We'll do that later at the end of the game here. Now, I can almost assure you this is not going to run well. If the Steam Deck and the Ally are any idea of how this thing will run. Now, this thing's obviously more powerful than either of those, but still, I'm guessing probably going to be dropping down into the 30s and 40s, but hey, let's not waste any more time and go find out. Okay. So here we are at the very beginning of the game, basically. And wow, doing better than I thought it was going to do, honestly. Almost guaranteed it's still going to drop under 60. Yeah, there it goes. Not by much, mind you, but this is a lot better than I was expecting this to run. Though this has had quite a few updates from when it first came out. Like, I was also seeing the 4090 running this game at like 30 to 40 FPS when it first came out, because it was such a terrible state when it first came out. It should be literally illegal to run or release a game in the state that half these games release in. And then it's like they also almost have a fucking like apology letter already drafted up. We're sorry we wanted money and didn't care about the product. Thanks for your money, though. We will get to fixing it when we feel like it, which is probably, never. Alright, that's a little much. Most game companies usually fix their shit eventually, but it's like usually months to be in a decent state. Anyway, we'll skip here to a little more fight scenes now. There we go. Now we're dropping under 60 quite a bit. Now that there's some action. Down in the 47s even when that ship went up. Anyway, let's fuck up some of these guys.
That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
Come on down here. And stab. And hell yeah, that's how that's done. Even with all the lag, it's still a fun combat, but obviously we can do much better than that. I'm not going to accept that. Anyway, though, let's go tone the settings down just a little bit. Why don't we? So now turning things down to high here for the preset. So let's just scroll through here. Still at 1080p, obviously. We wouldn't change that on you guys now. No ray tracing or FSR yet. We'll do both of those towards the end, right before I do my settings. And there we are. We're at the bottom. So let's go and see how high does. Back at the beginning of the game here, where it always stutters like crazy. And it seems to do that on all computers right there, so. And then also seems to lag going up these stairs. I remember I would always drop under 30 on both of my handhelds going up these stairs. But at least we're staying above 60.
This way. We're taking a
But high doesn't really seem to change too much, so I'm betting we're still going to drop to just about the same FPS at all the rest of these spots. Like, I think up here we dropped down like 54, 56 or something like that at some point. Yep, boom, there we go. All the way down to, yep, 50, all the way 50 that time. So I think there's just spots like that something doesn't agree with something in my laptop here. So when I get to my settings, we'll have to just keep running past that spot, and hopefully I can get over 50 FPS, but we might just not be able to. A lot of times I'm forced to either have my 60 FPS or have the game look like absolute poop. Anyway, though, we're pretty much to our stopping spot for the hallway, so let's move on to the fight. Still dropping down to the same like 48, 49 when the ship goes up. So yeah, it didn't really improve the FPS too much here, dropping from epic to high.
That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
It'd be funny to have enough energy to just knock them all off one at a time. Like, I'm gonna get him up. Damn it, I'm dead. All right, I'll get him. No, I'm dead. All right, now I think there's 3 more that come down. Oh shit, they actually hit me and almost knocked me off. Fuck you guys. Right, shit. I thought they were gonna mess me up a little bit more there. And we still drop a lot of frames on this spot too, it seems.
Not so fast, Senator.
Anyway, though, now let's go and drop it down to medium. Down to medium now. So let's scroll on through it. And we'll do these ray tracing and the FSR at the end, of course. And look at that, already to the bottom. So now let's go see if medium can possibly just stay over 60 the whole time. Here we are at the beginning of the game again here. And it still does that nonsensical stuttering at the beginning there. So I don't know if I really want to include that as dropping under 60 or not, because it seems to do that on everything. I probably would have counted it if I hadn't seen it doing it on my main computer. Or not main computer, secondary computer. Funny story about the main computer. So far, I haven't been able to test this on it yet. I don't know if it's because I played it on too many computers and I have to wait 24 hours, but I got to it, acts like it's going to launch, does the EA thing, and then it's just like, nope, not, just kidding. So it doesn't actually give me an error saying, hey, you've played on too many PCs, but I do remember a bunch of reviewers saying, hey, I can't play, I can't test this thing out, what the fuck? I can only play it on like 3 computers or some nonsense. And that would make perfect sense because I played it on the Steam Deck, the Ally, and the Asus. Although then I did it on my secondary computer too. So maybe it's 4, or maybe it's 5, and it counted going up 1440p on the laptop as another computer. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Either that or just some stupid reason. It just doesn't want to work, and it never will. That could be a possibility. There are some games that love to do that to me. Alright, well, we're at the fighty part now. Alright, well, it didn't drop down into the 40s that time, but it still dropped down to 54 when the ship went up. And we're still under 60 during our fights here. So it looks like medium still not quite the 60 FPS plus experience. Hell, in fact, this might be one of those games where if you want a constant 60, you have to use FSR. Oh, I thought he was going to fall off. Well, we can fix that. Oh, nope, I'm over here now. Gotta get better at dodging. And block. That's one of my things. Almost never block in games. Like fighting games, whatever. I'm just too aggressive. Dodging, I do try to do a lot. I mean, hell, half of the games like Elden Ring and whatnot, you have to get good at dodging. If you're not good at dodging, you die. That's straight up what happens. Oh, it wants me to heal. I got too fucked up. Oh, you're not getting promoted. Oh, I can't knock him off. I don't have any energy. Anyway, that was kind of shitty. I didn't do so well that time. Ah, and it still drops down to the 40s when the ship goes up.
Not so fast, Senator.
But anyway, I guess let's go try toning her down to low. And here we are. We're finally at low here, so it says custom, but it's on low. I have no idea why it says custom. All I did was change it and then started recording, so. Anyway, though, that is already at the bottom, so let's go see if low can stay over 60. Probably not. I have a sneaking suspicion this is a game that needs FSR to stay over 60, and even that might not happen. So here we are at the beginning of the game. And wow, even with the beginning, like, Stutterfest, usually it didn't drop under 60. So that's cool. Though that would be kind of lame if the only way we could play this game at over 60 was playing it on all low. This laptop's definitely more than powerful enough to handle a mixture of settings, so that's why we do my settings. I'll have to try to, I guess, do a mixture of medium and low.
This way. We're taking a detour.
And the game looks bad, but not as bad as I was expecting for low. A lot of other games' lows look way worse than this. But things definitely look jaggy and soft now.
Like rats in a maze. I don't like it. Stick with the plan. You'll be fine. As long as I get paid.
Yeah, exactly. As long as he gets paid, he's a happy camper. He's an easy one to please.
Leave on your own or we take you in.
We're citizens. You can't treat us like this.
Yeah? Says who?
Alright, though. Let's go move on to some fights.
Stop the Jedi!
Oh, we still couldn't stay at over 60 for the ship going up, unfortunately.
Come and get me.
But so far, the fight looks like we're up. Nope. We went down to 58. Not the end of the world, but still that's technically under 60.
Come on out.
So yeah, looks like we're going to have to get some FSR going on here to get over 60 all the time. And even that might not work. We'll have to wait and see. And I still have to try ray tracing, which is not going to go well. Ray tracing never goes well on this thing. Alright, they are finished. Nope, that still drops down to the 40s too. What on earth is wrong with that part? Why does it drop so much FPS? It's not that impressive. Anyway, so now I'm going to try ray tracing, so I figured let's just put the game on medium. A lot of times I'll put the game maxed out, but we already know the game was not running very good maxed out on Epic, so let's try something a little more reasonable. We'll try medium with ray tracing, and it still probably won't be able to handle that worth of shit, but hey. We'll find out. We'll get to the bottom right here, and then we'll go and find out. Here's the beginning of the game on medium with ray tracing on. And we're down to 40s in the beginning there. But, wow, after that, I'm kind of actually a little impressed. Yeah, we're not getting 60 FPS, but, geez. A lot of people would probably be completely okay with playing like this. Because a lot of people I've talked to are totally fine with 30 and 40 FPS. They're totally okay with that as long as it's not stuttering or dropping to 20 FPS randomly here and there, because everyone's going to notice that. Well, I say everyone, but there are people that played the Pokemon games and stuff like that and didn't realize that the frame rate was dropping down into the teens. So some people just play games and have fun with it and don't give a shit. Don't even know what an FPS is. They're just like, I play game. I enjoy game. Don't care how. Don't care how it looks. Don't care how it plays. As long as I enjoy the gameplay. Me, they kind of go hand in hand. If the game's laggy and looks like shit, I'm not having very much fun, but I'm only one person after all. Just because I don't enjoy playing a game one way doesn't mean no one can. Anyway, though, we've done our little hallway walk, so it's time to get into our little lightsaber duel here. And it still honestly drops down to about the same 40, so we didn't really change the frame drops there. They were about the same as they were. But we're getting way less FPS in this fight. I think we were getting like high 50s, low 60s.
Senator, come on out. We'll talk.
And on low, I think we stayed above 60 most of the time. We dropped down to like 58, 59 here and there, but besides when the ship took off and when we beat the people in the ship tries to leave, that's another part where it loves to just drop down to like in the 40s. No idea why. Hey, don't stab me with that. Otherwise, I stab you with lightsaber. And it still drops down to the same, like, oh, wow, we're all the way down to 30s. Didn't drop under 30, though, so at least there's that.
Hit it, BD.
Anyway, though, now let's go move on to a little FSR action. Well, now we're going to move on to FSR, so again, I figured we'd be, you know, realistic and set the game on medium. And see if that can, how that does with some quality. FSR 2. Now, I don't know if that's 2.1, 2.2, or what, but it's Super Resolution 2, so that's all I know is it's FSR 2 of some form. Anyway, though, we've made it to the end, so let's go into the game and we'll see how it does with some FSR. So here we go with some FSR. It's on quality, and the game is on medium. And so far, even at the beginning, we didn't drop under 60, where it usually lags and stutters a bunch. I think, well, it's pre-caching the level in. It's just my guess. We still dropped down to 65 going up these stairs. These stairs it's hard to run, and we got lots of stutters upon starting them, too. I don't know. That's got to be the game like caching or something.
Like rats in a maze. I don't like it.
Yes.
Stick with the plan.
Rats make them crazy.
As long as I get paid.
Leave on your own or we take you in.
Who? We're citizens. You can't treat us like this.
Yeah? Says who?
Fine.
All right. Battle time.
The Jedi!
Down to 60. 61. Nope, he still can't stay above 50 when that bastard goes into the sky. What is so special about that thing going up? There's not like any special graphics. It's literally just a giant ship lifting up. I don't get that.
Come on out.
Just must be the terrible way the game's made. We'll be able to tell for sure once we get to my secondary computer. I mean, that thing's pretty drastically more powerful than this thing in every way, shape, or form. But, he still hit me. I wasn't expecting him to do 2 hits. I thought he would miss and go, oh man, I'll get him next time. But no, he went for 2. All right, though. And then that part still drops down into the 40s. So it must be a medium setting doing that, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, let's go and drop it down to the next FSR setting. Dropping the FSR down to some balanced setting now. Leaving the rest of the game still on medium. We're not going to change that, obviously, now. If we started doing that, that would invalidate the whole test, and that would be absolutely stupid of me. So there we are. You can see it's on balanced. Everything else is precisely the same as it was. So, back to the game. Balanced FSR it is. Right at the beginning of the game here again. And just like last time, even with the beginning of the game stutter we usually have back there, we still only drop down to like 64 or something for a split second. It always drops to like 60-something here. Yep, 68 this time instead of 62, so we definitely got an improvement there. Speaking of which, I wonder what balanced FSR's resolution actually is, if the base is 1080p. Would this be 720p at this point? I wish it would just tell you. Some games tell you, you know, like the rendered resolution. So that would have been cool. Then I'd just be able to tell you, but unfortunately, I don't know. I can't do that math in my head. Maybe if I went and learned the exact, like, math that FSR uses to cut the resolution down, then I could do it. But that would require me to go look things up, and I'm way too lazy to do that. I'm too busy making you guys videos.
Leave on your own or we take you in.
We're citizens. You can't treat us like this.
Okay, though, we've reached the end of our little hallway jaunt, so let's go switch on over and we'll move on over to the fight.
Someone's gonna pay for it. Hard enough to make ends meet in this galaxy.
That's mine.
There we go. I walked a little farther this time, just for fun. Nope, still down to the low 50s when that bitch goes up in the sky. I do not get that. I guess I'm just gonna have to give up on staying above 60 FPS in this game, no matter what you're on. Well, maybe not. Maybe my desktop can handle it, but seeing how it's running on this, probably not, because it's higher resolution and all that. So even though it's more powerful, the higher resolution kills it. And that is exactly why I stopped doing ultra-wide on my laptop. It was just a little too hard for it to run a lot of the games. Older games run fine, and if you're okay with, you know, not getting 60 all the time, totally acceptable to play like that, but I didn't like that, so I didn't deal with it. Ooh, that was nasty. It's like, hey, I'm gonna spin you around, and then just shove a fucking lightsaber through your stomach. Sound cool? we still drop there. At least it's just a cutscene, but it's still annoying. Anyway, though, next FSR. So, now we're going to do FSR Performance, leaving the rest of the game on medium, of course. I would not change that on you now. And there we are, FSR 2 Performance. So let's finish scrolling through now. Just got to the bottom, and that means we can just get back into the game. So here's FSR on Performance now, and this is where it generally starts looking kind of crappy normally, and this is definitely still looking pretty crappy, but it actually doesn't look as bad as it usually does. But generally, I would never go this low. Balance is about as low as I go when I'm at a 1080p base anyway. And it's the same with the Steam Deck and the Ally. Because once you get to performance on those, it literally looks like you're playing a PS3 game. And that honestly might be an insult to the PS3 games in some ways. Sometimes PS3 games look clearer, like it just muddies up everything. But you'll see what I mean once we get to Ultra Performance. Ultra Performance is kind of like what performance looks like on lower resolution stuff like the Steam Deck and the Ally. Well, the Ally's 1080p too, so I shouldn't really say that. But a lot of times with that thing, you gotta run it on 720p just to get decent FPS, so. But then it's got a nice option, though, for the people that would rather just be 1080p, 30, 40 FPS. You've got that, too. So it's almost like a performance and quality mode.
That's mine.
And that is his. And now you go. He's all like, I flee. Still drops frames, though, even on performance.
That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
Down there.
Alright, take him down, and then we can finish him off. There we go. Oh, I didn't knock him off. Fuck. But there we go. We finished them off. Nope, still down into the 40s for that bitch.
Not so fast.
So random. Don't get it. But anyway, on we move. So last up on the FSR menu here, we've got FSR Ultra Performance, which I like to call Ultra Crap mode, because it just makes the game look like ultra crap. Anyway, we've reached the bottom, so let me go show you what I mean. Here we are, FSR Ultra Performance. And as you can see, it makes the game look really, really bad. And yeah, I think that's about right. There are PS3 games that have higher quality than this. 100%. And it's mostly just due to the resolution. You're toning the resolution down, this has got to be like fucking 360p or some shit. Upscaled to 1080. So there's a limit to what FSR can do. And even when you're on the quality and whatnot stuff, usually you can tell there's some nonsense going on a lot before you can with DLSS. But they both have their issues. It's not like either one is perfect. That's why I tend to avoid both, if I can help it. But there are some games out there, very few, that even my 4090 computer can't play without a little help from DLSS. And that's games like Cyberpunk. If you want to have ray tracing, which that game ray tracing actually makes a pretty significant difference, at least in my opinion. So I can deal with some balanced DLSS,
Can't treat us like this.
where I can at least get 60-ish FPS with some decent ray tracing on.
That's
but
mine.
can't do the full path tracing at all, not even with frame gen and everything helping me out. That shit, that new update for the path tracing, that shit was hardcore. That's like the new Crisis now. Maybe in like 2 or 3 years of graphics cards, we'll be able to get 60-ish in that game now. Other than I'll probably just update it again and be like, all right, well now we've got 8K textures, bitch. It's like, oh, motherfucker.
Talk.
Ah. Oh my god, the one guy just like ran off the side. He was like, I want none of that lightsaber. I'm just gonna kill myself. And there we go. Made short work of those motherfuckers. And we still cannot stop that thing from dropping into the 40s when it takes off.
Hit it, BD.
But anyway, let's go and do my settings now. Now we're going to do my settings, and since no matter what you do, this game drops frames, I just figured I would go with these settings. We still drop no matter what, but at least it looks halfway decent now. And we stopped at FSR Balanced. We had to use Balanced or FSR because, as you guys saw, no matter what, we dropped under 60 a lot more often without FSR than we did with it on. So, anyway, let's go see how my settings do. So here we go with my settings. We're at the very beginning of the game where you're walking with all of your people that captured you.
That's right. Sidestepping Inquisitors. What
You're just a bounty to them.
The guy's playing a dangerous game. So are we.
But yeah, as you can see so far, we have not dropped under 60 a single time. At least in this walking area, but let's be honest, nothing crazy is happening here. And I can guarantee there's other worlds and other places in the game where we probably still will drop under 60. Well, we know we will at certain intervals, like when the ship goes up and whatnot. That just seems to happen. I don't know what it is about that. But that's what I mean by no matter what, we drop FPS. So I figure might as well have a couple high settings in there. Since we got FSR on too. Which I don't like using, but it was a necessary evil in this game. In fact, I feel like this game was honestly made with FSR in mind. Like, they pretty much want you using it. Unless you're on like a 4090 PC or a 4080 PC or one of the two new AMD GPUs. If you're not on one of those, they're pretty much like, okay, well, we're going to assume you're going to have to use this shit. So it still dropped down to the same 52 like it had for every other setting we did. But during the fight, at least, besides 59, we're mostly staying above 60, which is what I want. Oh, there was a 57 too.
Senator, come on out. We'll talk.
Oh, no, all the way down to 55. But still, I was still more than playable. And if you didn't want it to do that and it would stay like just barely above 60, you could turn the two high settings down to medium. But I really think it helps out quite a bit. Having those on, it makes it look a lot nicer. But, oh, that guy doesn't have a hand anymore. And we still drop down to the same 40, 41 there. It's like it's
so fast,
just
Senator.
gonna happen no matter what, so I've just lived to accept it. Anyway though, that is about all. So let's go move on to camera. Alright guys, let's get a little camera recorded gameplay here with my settings. And it still drops under 60 from time to time, no matter what you do. It's just an unfortunate circumstance of this game. Just like the Ally and the Steam Deck love to drop under 30 from time to time, this loves to drop under 60 from time to time. Although I'll say that this stays above 60 a lot more often than the other two stay at 30. I think they were dropping a little bit more. But you can go check those videos out for yourself so you compare. That's why I do them all, and do the exact same thing on all of them. That way they're all comparable. Alright, let's just pass them assaulting the random civilian. And then you guys can see the part that I always paused for when I was doing the other stuff. I'd always pause back there and walk all the way up to the first fight. So instead, we'll walk all the way to the first fight, and you can see all the random times it drops under 60 from here to there as well, which I think is still a couple of times. Making the exceptions. Or so you think. A little tiny stutter there. At least it doesn't stutter as bad as it looked like it did when the game first came out. This seems like a night and day difference. I don't even think we would be above 30 FPS right now, probably. Although there are a lot harder to run spots than this, obviously. So that's why I'm saying it's going to drop under 60 no matter what, because it still does just while we're here. So I figured if it does here, unfortunately it is everywhere. It's just going to be one of those games you're just going to have to deal with it if you want to play it. And this is your only way to play it. And if you can't deal with it, I would not suggest buying it at this time. It's still not quite good enough, and I don't know if it ever will be at this rate, you know? I would never want to buy something with the hopes it was going to get better, I guess is where I'm getting at.
You gonna let him punch?
Yeah, really punch him in the stomach. Yeah, that's right.
So where'd you find him?
But, little do they know, he gets the last laugh. Haha.
How'd you make the arrest? When the senator gets a hold of you, you'll wish you were dead.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Well, this is another spot it was dropping under 60.
This way.
He is supposed to be in mint condition.
The senator requested I bring the prisoner to him alive. He is breathing.
Droids don't fuck around, they're cold. They're programmed to do their task and nothing more. Anyway, let's just skip past this and let's get into some fighting.
That's fine.
Goodbye. This is another spot where it constantly drops. Down all the way on our 40s when that ship goes up. And we constantly drop under 60 as we fight, too, it seems. Well, not constantly, but at times. See?
That all you got, Senator? Come on out. Let's talk.
Search your gun.
Alright. And they are all finished. And this is another spot it always drops.
Not so fast, Senator. Hit it, BD.
Now he comes to us.
It's coming a little hot.
Whoa, really hot.
It's okay. Oh, these things happen.
These things happen.
We gotta get to that yacht. That was a close one, buddy.
It sure was. And now it's time for some Assassin's Creed-ified action here. Oh no! I've died! But that happened to me a lot in Assassin's Creed too. Like, oh, I just want to jump up here. Oh, I'm dead. There we go. That's what it wanted me to do. Alright, nope, I thought I was supposed to go farther that way, so we go this way.
Gotta go.
And I think this looks like a great spot to stop. So, why don't we go ahead and wrap this video on up? Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And didn't do as good as I was hoping, but did better than it did when the game first came out from what I saw. So at least it's playable-ish, if you're okay with drops under 60. Just like with the Ally and Steam Deck, you have to be okay with it dropping under 30 every once in a while. It's just going to happen, just like with Hogwarts. That one also loves to drop. But I would say this is still way smoother than Hogwarts still is. That one, especially when you're in Hogsmeade and in the frickin' Hogwarts frickin' actual castle, both of those places are just stutter central, no matter what computer you're on. But in any case, that is all we got for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We're done with 1080p, so now it's time for me to wrap this video up so I can do the whole thing all over again at 1440p. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.